Good afternoon. So far we have studied, or we have completed all the backgrounds, all the basic things related to database, right? So let's take the things which we discussed earlier, right? So at the beginning, we started off with the term database, right? We all know that there are two types of databases: manual database and also electronic database, right? So these are two databases. In both instances, data are saved systematically. But here in manual database, there are no computers or there are no electronic devices used. Everything is kept, right? Everything is manual. But here in electronic database, data are kept in electronic devices, right? So we discussed about the differences. Then we went on to take the database management system. Database management system. So I defined the DBMS as an application software for creating and managing the data, right? Creating the databases as well as managing the databases. We have a software called database management system, right? So there are many we discussed, right? MS Access there, right? MySQL there, Oracle, Paradox. So remember the names. These are database softwares, or in another word, database management system software, right? Okay. Then we took the database objects, right? There are some objects used in database for managing the data, right? So we have tables, we have query, form, and report, right? These are called database objects. These are for managing the databases. But look, I introduced these names, but not explained, right? We didn't even apply them, right? I only explained them, I only introduced them in the initial time, right? But today we will take them in databases, right? So database objects. Then we take table, right? We introduce the table, and we introduce the structure of a table, and also we discuss some of the terms. Hope you remember everything. If it is a table, there are fields, there are records, right? So we discussed about field and record, right, as well as record. I'm writing them here on the board because they are important, right? So what I'm doing is I'm recalling the things which we studied, right? So a table has field, in fact fields, and also records, right? Then we discussed about data types. Type of data saved in a database. There are many, but there are 5 common data types used: text, number, date or time, currency, boolean, right? So all of them are data types. What else we studied? Then we related all these terms, right? We related the database, table, field, record, right? There is a connection. What is it? Collection of field is a record, right? If you take a record, that should be a collection of fields. Collection of records is called a table, right? When records are collected, it becomes as a table. Collection of tables is called a database, right? Collection of tables, a database. A database may have many tables, okay? So we took that kind of relationship. Then after that, we discussed about keys, right? Keys in a database. I told you the keys are nothing, they are fields, right? But not all the fields are called keys. Some of the important fields with some sort of different characteristics are called keys. We discussed 3 keys: primary key, foreign key, what else? Composite primary key. Okay, right. After that, the last one, right? Relationship. So relationship is a connection or is an association between two tables. There can be three types of relationships: one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. Okay, so these are the things which we covered in the last few classes, or last 6 or 7 classes, right? All these things are very important. You must remember and understand everything, right? Because as I said earlier in the last class, almost all the questions come from this area, right? So in your final paper, there should be a complete question in the second part and maybe 3 or 4 MCQ questions, right? So around maybe 15 marks, you can easily gain. All these 15 marks questions come from these different areas, right? So the remaining things to be taught is not important in terms of as far as the examination is concerned, right? So in examination point of view, today's lesson or maybe in the next lessons are not important, but that is only for your practical life, because you should know how to handle databases. That's why I'm explaining that other things, but these are more than enough to manage your examination papers. Okay, right. So today what we are going to do is going to create databases in computers, right? Or in other words, we're going to create electronic databases. Okay, listen to me. To create electronic databases in computers, definitely you need a software, right? There should be an application software needed for creating databases. Not only creating databases, after creating the databases, you have to handle it. Because whenever you need a data from a database, you should be able to retrieve that. You should be able to find that. So for creating the database and also for managing or maintaining the database, you need application software, right? So these softwares are called database management systems. We already discussed or we already introduced, right? DBMS, database management system, is an application software So look at the term. The term itself has the meaning database management system. So how can we interpret that? It is a software or it's a system. Here system is nothing, it's a software. Right? System means software. So it is a software used to manage database. Database management system. So I can interpret in a simple way, it's a software or it's a system used to manage databases. So that term manage includes so many things. You know, that term, right? Manage always has a wider meaning. So here manage means maybe creating the data, keeping the data safe, retrieving the data when they are necessary. So all these things are referred by manage. So understand the fact database management system is a software used to manage database, which means creating the database and maintaining the database. Okay, right. So here we will use a database management system for creating the databases as well as manipulating or handling the databases. Right. For creating the databases or for manipulating the database, definitely you need a DBMS in your computer, which means a database management system software. So we have a number of database management system softwares. Even though I already listed, I take them again. So we have Microsoft Access. Right, Microsoft Access, this is from Microsoft. So here today we will use Microsoft Access for creating databases. Let's see, right? We will have to wait. I will take that a little later. We have number of DBMS, right? So let me take another one. LibreOffice Base, right? Base in word processing, that is known as LibreOffice Writer, but here it is related to database. That's why they gave this name base. Okay, and also of course you have Oracle. Right? Oracle is another database management system software, and the most popular one is MySQL. Right? MySQL is another popular DBMS. Right? And we have Paradox. Right, so this list seems to be big, but I have taken five different DBMS programs, right? So here today we will use Microsoft Access for creating and managing the databases. Okay, but as I always say, if you are able to handle Microsoft Access, you can handle the rest of the applications because all of them are developed for the same purpose, right? They all develop for the same purpose. What is the purpose behind creating the databases as well as managing them? So if you know how to handle Microsoft Access, you know how to handle the others. Okay, right? So hope you got that basic. Now we are going to create an electronic database. Since it is an electronic database, it must be created in a computer, right? So to create it in a computer, you need a software called database management system. It is an application software. You know, application softwares always have a unique purpose, unique need. Here, what's the unique purpose? Creating and managing the data, right? So you cannot do any other things with these softwares. You cannot type a book. You cannot perform different calculations. You cannot watch a movie. You cannot play computer games because this is used or this is developed for one single purpose, that is creating and managing the data. Okay, right. Sometimes DBMS also called database software. If someone uses that word database software, remember that it is database management system. Database management system is technically correct. It is the right word to be used. But in spoken, people use the word database software. So that means DBMS. Okay, right. So without further introduction or further description, I straight away go to the Microsoft Access. I already told you that it is Access, right? So we will have to open MS Access and let's see how to create databases, right? Okay. Right, listen to me. Right. So first of all, we have to open that Microsoft Access. So Microsoft Access is a software comes as a package. You know, MS Office is a package where we have number of softwares. So find that MS Office first. Go to the program. Here I'm using Windows 7. If you use Windows 10 or Windows 8, things little bit different. Find your folder Microsoft Office, right? So here I have Microsoft Office. This is the folder to be found, right? So if I select Microsoft Office, so click on the Microsoft Office, and you have number of softwares. There are many softwares available. So click on. See, there is an option called Microsoft Access. Where is it? Here it is, first one, Microsoft Access. I'm using the 2010 version. There are new versions available. It is better to use a version after maybe 2010 or latest, right? Don't use the previous versions, older versions, because they may have different interfaces and different features, but it is recommended to use 2010 version or latest, right? Even in, I think in your book also they suggest to use 2010, but using the latest version is not an issue, but don't use any versions which were released before 2010, right? Okay. So click on this option, Microsoft Access 2010. Okay, let me click. Okay. Now see, unlike other Microsoft application softwares, you have a different interface because in most of the Microsoft products have similar interfaces. you know, there is a title bar, there are tabs, and then a ribbon, then you have some other things, right? You know them. Even Microsoft Word has that, Excel has that, right? Almost all the Microsoft Office packages or Office softwares have similar, but this is something different, right? So here, look here. Look at that title bar. You know, the top bar is always title bar. That shows Microsoft Access. Okay, that shows the name Microsoft Access. Then you have tabs: File, Home, Create, External Data, Database Tools. Right? These are some tools. Sorry, not tools actually. Tabs. Right? We have some tabs. So here you have to click the tab. Okay, before click the tab, look here. There are some options available, and also you have a button called create, right? You have a button called create, and you have some choices. Keep an eye on this. This one is already selected, blank database, right? Blank database, that is selected. Don't make any changes, keep that as it is, right? It is a default setting. Don't make any changes, because we are going to create an empty database first, right? At the beginning, it must be empty database. So don't make any changes, keep that, right? Keep that setting. And here, look at the other side. You have to give a file name, which means you have to give a name for your database, right? By default, there is a name given. So here, look at the name database 3. Delete that and give a proper name. Look at the extension. It is ACCDB, right? Extension is ACCDB. Just delete that and give a file name for your database. Here, file name means database name, right? Database name. Don't be confused. I will explain about everything one by one. Okay, look here. I take a meaningful situation first. See, I'm going to create a database, right? Okay, I'm going to create a database for storing the data in schools. Listen to me carefully. Okay, going to create a database for a school. Let's say that school is X or something, right? School X. That is the name of the school. Not only students' details, I want to save all the data in a school, right? So, you know, in a school, there are data about students. There are data about teachers. There are data about payments, data about subjects. So since you have various data, you cannot save all of them in a single table, right? You can't save all these different data in a single table. So what you have to do is create multiple tables and save the relevant data in relevant tables. So you need to create a table for student and save the student's data in student table. Create another table for students' payments and keep the payments in this payment table. You need another table for teachers to keep teachers' data. So you need many tables. But remember, all these tables are in one school, under one school. So I can simply say, so use your previous existing knowledge. I can simply say that all these tables should be in one single database. We already discussed about the connection, right? Collection of tables is one database. So here I need to create multiple tables, right? Because I have multiple data. So definitely I need multiple tables. So all these multiple tables must be under one database. Try to understand this connection. Without this idea, I cannot, go forward, right? Have you understood? I need to create a database because in a database, tables are vital things to have data. We have already discussed them. So what I'm going to do is going to create a database first, because inside of a database, there are tables. So assume if you don't create a database, then how can you create tables? Of course, the most important thing is table, because what is the purpose of using table? Storing the data in a well organized manner. That is the reason why we create tables. But the problem is table must be in a database. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a database first. So after that, inside of the database, I will create table. That's the reason why, look here, we have selected blank database. That doesn't have anything, still blank, right? So keep that setting. And now here file name means, right? File name, keep an eye on mouse movement, mouse pointer. So here file name means your database name, right? File name is the database name. So look here, I'm going to select or save the data in a school. So the school name is XYZ or something, right? School name is XYZ. So give a meaningful name for your database like XYZ. It's enough. Okay, let me add a word DB or something. XYZ DB. Don't think that DB should be given at the end. No, I have given that as database or something. XYZ DB. This is my file name. In fact, this is my database name. Have you understood? Now a database name is given to represent your school. Since my school name is XYZ, I gave that. If your school name is PQR, give that as PQR. If you are developing or creating a database for bank, which name is right anything right like ABC, give ABC Bank or ABC DB. So give a meaningful name. After that, even you can select the location. By default, it is saved in documents, right? C drive, C is a partition, right? We discussed documents. If you want to select the path or location, you can click here and you can change the location. Suppose if I want to save in E drive, click local disk E, right? And okay. Now look at the location, it is E, okay? So if you want, you can keep the default location, or if you want, you can even change the location, right? So now in my case, the location has been changed, right, into E. So I have done two changes here. I typed the database name there. See, look, have you noticed? I have typed XYZDB. That is my database name. But now there is something added as a suffix. Look at that, ACCDB. That is the extension of Microsoft Access. As we discussed in MS Word, extensions are not added by the user, right? That can be added by the OS. So here, look there, ACCDB, that is the extension of Microsoft Access. Okay, right. So E drive is okay. Now click on the button create. There is a button called create. So what happens when I click on create? When I click on create, this database will be created. Remember, the database is XYZDB. That will be created without any data. Still it's a blank. That's why it is called blank database, right? So you can create your database in the name of XYZDB, but it will be an empty database. Okay, let's click and see the answer, see the result. Okay, let me click. Right, okay. Now the database has been created. Okay, hereafter everything is important. The database has been created, but without any data. Even you can see the title bar. Have a look at the title bar. XYZDB database. Earlier, maybe seconds ago, the title bar has shown MS Access only, right? If you look the title bar earlier, it was MS Access only. But here you have a meaningful thing. Here, look at that. Your database name is there, XYZDB. So now it is an indication of the creation of database. So now it indicates that your database is created. Okay, right. So database is ready. Nothing inside. It's a blank database. That's why it is called blank database, right? So since database is ready, we can start saving the data now. But the problem is, to save the data in a database, you need tables. Use your existing knowledge, they are important, right? To keep any data in a database, you need a table. Looks like the tables which we created earlier in the keys and other areas, right? So you need a table for storing the data. Okay. So now, since it's the first practical session, let me create a table for storing the students' data, right? So I'm going to store the students' data in the database, not the teachers or not the payments or not the rest of the data. I need the students' data such as admission number, student names, maybe date of birth, maybe gender. So let's save some of the students' basic data, not all the data, because this is my first program, first practical session. So I don't want to be complex. Let me explain some of the basics first. Okay. So have you understood? We are going to create a table for storing student data. Look at the left side of your interface. Keep an eye on the left side, this one. Huh? So here, there is a table available. By default, there is a table. There is an existing table. I didn't create this table. Look here, that table is not created by me. That is always there. It's a default table. Now you want a table for storing students' data. So if you want to keep this data, yes, you can. You can keep this data and make some changes to keep your students' data. That is one option. Or delete this table and create a new table. That is also one of the options that you have. Have you understood? I need a table for storing students' data. So definitely a table needs to be created. So by default, MS Access provides a table to you. You can use this, but of course there is nothing, no data inside. There are no fields created, but you can use this existing table, a blank table. This is one option. The other one, you have to create a new table, right? So since we are learning the basics, I don't want to use this existing table. I want to close this table, right, and create a new one. So this is how it is closed. Keep an eye. So there is a table tab there. Right click on it and click on close. Now look at that. Now you don't have any table, right? Look at the title bar, XYZ DB database. So your database is there. You are in the database, but no tables available. Okay. So let's create the first table. To create a table, go to the Create tab. Now we are on the Home tab. Go to the Create tab. Click on the Create. Right? Okay. So now have you noticed that Create tab? Now you have a ribbon, right? Look at the ribbon. This ribbon is divided into multiple parts. You can clearly see. See, there is small area. There is this area called templates. This is a small area. Then there is another small portion called tables. Keep an eye here, tables. So here we have 3 tools related to table. And look there, another portion belongs to queries. Later we will discuss. Then again another portion related to forms. Right, this is form. And then look here, there is another one called reports. This is. And finally, you have another small area for macros. So your Create tab has been divided into 5 multiple parts, right? So you have templates there, you have tables, you have queries, forms, reports, and macro. Hereafter, we will have to work on these 3 things, right? We will have to work on table portion. Then after that, we will have to work on queries, and finally, sorry, not finally, form, better even report. We will have to take this form, not macros. Macros are not in our syllabus. So we have to take, or we have to use these 4 small portions. But all of them are in Create tab. Okay, right. Right. So now, listen to me. Now, we have to create, right? We have to create a table. So click on the Create option. Now focus on Table section, Table sector. There is a small portion, right? There may be different ways to create a table, but this is the ideal way. Click on table design. There is an option called table design. Click on it, right? Click on it, right? So when you click on that, you have a view of table, right? So it is called design view of the table. The view that you are looking or you are viewing is called, right? Is called design view of the table. I tell you, I give you some ideas or some description later, but remember this is a view, right? Even if you don't remember the name design view, it's not an issue because we have to work in two different views. So I will explain those two views later. This is in design view. Okay, right, listen to me. Now, in this view, right, in this view, you have to define your table. You have to define your table. Look here. Right. So in this particular view, as I said earlier, you have to define or you have to design your table. What does design mean? So design the table means deciding your fields and their data types. I repeat it. Now I have to design my table. Even I can say define my table. So designing or defining the table means you have to, create or you have to declare your fields and also the data types, because every field has data. Definitely they belong to a type. So you have to set them. Okay, look here. I will create a sample table. I want a table looks like this. A student table. Right? I want a student table with 4 fields. Right? 4 fields. So this is admission number. That is my first field. Okay. I want admission number. That is my first field. And then student name. So let me put like ST name, student name. And the next field would be gender. Okay, let me take gender little later, not now. So I take this one as age or something. Age. And then I take this as, since it is not related, I put it right because to show something. So let me show this as fee or something. Actually, fee is not the right field to be entered in student table. That may be entered in payment or somewhere. But I put it because to introduce some of the data types. That's the reason why I put it. Okay, this is my table. I need a small table for student having 4 fields, right? Admission number, student name, age, fee. Look. So since it's an admission number, I need data in numerical form, right? Because it's an admission number. So I need the data in number format, right? So like 1001. Let me add a sample record, right? Sample record 1001. Definitely I want numerical data for admission number. No characters involved, no symbols involved, only numbers, right? Okay. Then the student name, okay, let me give a meaningful name, right? Like S. Vimal. This is student name. So student names always have text. Then age, definitely it is a number. So let me put 16 or something. It's a number. Then fees, okay, let me put like 1,000 rupees. Okay, 1,000 rupees. I have entered this sample record in order to explain the data type to you, because there may be different types of data available, but generally or common data types are 5: number, text, date of time, currency, boolean. These are common data types, but don't think that all the data are categorized into 5 categories. No, there may be more than 5 also, but these are the common categories. Okay. Now, before create the table in computer, let's analyze the data types. So here, look at the admission number. I already told you that all these data should be a number. So definitely it is a number related things, right? Numerical related things. So let's take them as number. So look at the second one, student name. Definitely student name keeps text related data. So definitely they are related to text. Let's see how they are named in MS Access. We generally use the names like number, text. Sometimes these names can be described or can be in different names in different softwares. So I will show them in MS Access a little later. So age, so here I want them in number, right? Age must be entered in number, so it is a number. I don't want their names in text like 16 in letters, right? I don't want them, I want in number. And look at the fees. So it seems to be a number, but not number actually. It is related to money. So it is currency, right? I take it as currency. Okay. So what I did was identify the data types for each field. Okay. Now it's very clear. I have a view now. I know my data table now. I have 4 fields in the name of admission number, student name, and age, and finally fees. And also I decided the data types. Okay. With this idea, let's go to the computer and create the table. Okay. Look here. Right, so we are in the design view of the table, right? So look here, the design view, right? Design view is divided into 3 columns. First column is field name, second column is data type, right? Second column is data type. Third column, you can see a wider column there. The third column is description. I hope the 2 columns are very familiar to you, even though you don't have any experiences with MS Word, sorry, MS Access, you know, because these 2 names are very familiar. So field name, right? You know field names, right? Columns are fields, and data types, the type of data that the table has, right? Okay, let me explain the description later. Okay, right. So look here, in my case, my first field is admission number. Don't forget, we are designing the table right now. We are defining the table right now. What does define or design mean? Creating the fields along with the data type, right? So what is your first field? ADNO, admission number. Type that now. In the field name, type that ADNO. Okay, right. Then move to the data type, right? Data type. So what is the data type? We already decided, right? So we want data in number format in ADNO. So click the down arrow. You have a list there. We call it as a drop down list. Drop down, right? Drop down. That is dropping down. So there may be 10 or 11 different data types. As I said earlier, Microsoft Access has more than common data types. So we have so many data types there, around 11. So now select the relevant data type for your number. We already decided it's a number. So see that data type is in the form of number. MS Access uses the name number. Select the number. Okay. See, look there, it is a description. Right? So description column is optional. You don't need to fill it. If you want, you can fill that column, but it is always optional, because here in description column, you can describe your field names in a meaningful sentence. Like, see, it is as admission number. That's why I put ADNO. Sometimes after creating this table, if someone comes to this table and view, when someone comes and view, he or she may have some problems in understanding the field name, because field names are always short. Sometimes it is tough to here. ADNO is very common. Everyone can see and understand that. But sometimes when someone sees your field name, he or she cannot understand the real meaning or real, he cannot get the real understanding. So that's why you can describe the field name in a meaningful way in your language in this description box. See, For admission number, I can put like this. Unique numbers of each students are given as admission number. This is my own sentence. I can describe in my way. Unique numbers are given to students as admission number. That's enough. Okay, right. So, but there is nothing to be filled. You can keep that as blank. Okay, right. Go to the second field. So, according to my table, the second field would be ST name, right? So, type that. It's too simple. ST name. ST name. I put like that. I want like this. If you want a space in between ST and name, don't leave the space, keep the underscore. You cannot leave the space there in field names. Use the underscore to join the words. This is how underscore is linked. I mean, put shift plus hyphen, right? You have a shift key and hyphen. Now it is underscore. It is not this. This is wrong. You can't use such symbols. So this is called hyphen, but shift plus hyphen, right? So ST name, or even without space also it is possible, right? Go to the data type. So yes, student names have text, so keep that, right? Text is there, keep it, don't make any changes. Here also you don't need to have description, because as I said earlier, descriptions are always optionals. If you want, you can describe. You can describe like student names or names of students. If it is full names of students, I entered. Describe that field in your own words, right? Use your own words, okay? Right, go to the next field. So the next field would be age, so type age. Yes, it is number, so select the data type as number. You can select that, right? There are many things, so select number. Okay, so I keep the description again as blank and go to the fourth field. Right, my fourth field would be fee, right? So it is fee. So in fee, you know, the number is not an appropriate, because it seems to be a number, but they are not actually numbers. They are related to money value. So there is an option called, there is a data type called currency, right? Currency, select the currency. All right. So we used 3 data types at this moment. So we used number, we used text, and also we used currency. But don't forget that Access has more than these 3. In fact, Access has around 11 data types. Right. So now I have defined my table. Or I can say I designed my table. So don't memorize anything, right? Designing the table means declaring the fields along with the data type. See, I have decided my field names along with the data types. See, there is something on the bottom called field properties. These are fields, right? Properties mean characteristics. So some of the characteristics for each and every field are categorized here under the table, but don't go for them now. Later we will discuss, because if I explain them at this moment, it seems to be little complex. But now I ignore them, right? I ignore these field properties. I kept an eye only these 2, right? Field name and data type. Okay, right. Now your table is ready. Right, your table is ready, but ready in design view. So what does it mean? Now you have created all the fields along with the data type, but to enter the data, to insert the data, you need a table, right? You need a table looks like this, because my primary primary aim is to save the data. That's why I'm doing something in the database. I wanted to store the students' data. I wanted to store the admission number, name, age, and fee. That's the reason why I'm creating the database. But to enter such detail, definitely your table should be like this. Your table should look like this. Then only you can add the data. Your table must have fields as vertical components. Then only you can. But have you noticed the design view? Design view is not like that. Go back and check the design view again. This is not the view. Look here, fields are one by one, right? They are vertically arranged one by one here, and also data type there. This is not the typical table that you are dealing with, right? You always deal with, right? So now we need to convert, or I can say we need to change or switch the view. Where are we now? We are in the design view, right? This view is called design view. Design view is only for designing the table, right? But once a table is designed, you need to go to the another view to enter the data, to add the data. So we have to switch the view now. It's very simple. Click on the view icon. There is an icon called view. Click on it, right? Click on it. Now you have multiple views. Click on data sheet view. We are in design view, right? Don't forget we are in design view. But time to switch the view, go to the data sheet view. Click on it. Right. Now it asks some information. So such boxes are called message boxes, because this box, right, the box that you are looking on the screen is called message box, because that carries a message. What is the message carrying? You must first save the table. Do you want to save the table now? Definitely I have to save, because whenever you switch from one view to another, you have to save your works. Now I'm switching from design view to datasheet view, so I must save. Of course, you have the save button on the top. Look at that. Look at the quick access toolbar. There is an option called save. You can click that save, or when you are trying to switch, it asks, right? So click on the yes button, right? Listen to me. Now it asks to save. At the time when we opened Microsoft Access, it asked a file name. Have you noticed? At the time when we opened MS Access, it asked a file name. I gave XYZ DB. So that is file name, which means that is a database. Inside a database, it is possible for creating many tables. So now it asks a name for table. That, look at the top, XYZ DB, it's a database name. That database may have many tables. So now this is the table name. Don't be confused with database name, because inside of a database there may be many tables. So now delete this table name. By default it's table 1. Delete that and give a meaningful name. So look here, we have to save the students data, right? We have to give the students data. We have to save the student data. So the appropriate name is student. Right? So let me give student. Even if I give X, it accepts. Even if I give ABC, accepts. But don't give meaningless names. Always give meaningful name. This table name should reflect the content of the table, right? So give the name, and after that click on OK button, right? Okay. Now see, it asks another thing. There is no primary key defined. Another message shown. There is no primary key defined. Okay, I will read out the message there. Although a primary key isn't required, it is highly recommended. A table must have a primary key for you to define a relationship between the table and other tables in the database. Do you want to create the primary key now? Have you understood? It is a kind of warning, or it's a kind of information issued to you. This message box shows that there is no primary key defined. Do you want to set a primary key? And also it shows the importance of the primary key, right? So we all know the primary key is important because it is the one which relates with another table, okay? But I don't want to set the primary key at this moment. Later we can, because the reason is again simple. We are creating a table for very first time. So I don't want complex things now. So I don't want the primary key at this moment. So I want to ignore this message. So do you want to create a primary key now? No, right? I want to click on no, right? So now primary key hasn't been set, right? But look at the view now. The view has been changed, right? The view has been changed. Look at that. First one is admission number. Second one is student name. Third, age, and fourth, fee. So now it looks like a typical table. If you compare this table with the table which we created just now, you can see the similarity, right? So now your table looks like a typical table. So I hope that the data entry becomes very simple now, because now you have a familiar table, you have fields, and now we can enter record by record. Okay, let's see how to enter the record now. Okay, right, look. So now click on the first cell and inside of admission number, type the admission number. If it is 1001, type it. And then you may press the tab key, or you may press the right arrow key, or even you can click on the next cell. Now look at that, we are in student name. Type record by record. Don't type or don't fill the first field first and then fill all the data in second field. That is not the way. Enter your data record by record. So now I am entering the data for the first record. So if it is Vimal, type Vimal, right, .s or something. And to go to the next field, press the tab key. That tab key is very simple. Press the tab key. And if he is 15, type 15. And again, press the tab key. Right? So see, he paid 1,000 rupees. I typed out 1,000. Okay, now the first record has been entered. To go to the next record, again press the tab key. You have a key on the left side of your keyboard called tab key, tab. So press the tab. Have you noticed here? Look at the first record again. I typed 1001. It is displayed exactly as same. Vimal is okay. 15 okay. Have you noticed the fee? I typed only 1,000, right? I typed only 1,000, but it looks like in a different pattern, different format. Have you noticed RS there, rupees, right? 1 comma, even I didn't put the comma there to separate thousands. 1 comma, 3 zeros, dot, even cents there, 00. But this is the one, this is not the one which I typed. I typed only as a number like 1,000, but I got in a different manner. It is because of the format of your computer setting. You have not, I said the currency for fee, right? Currency. In your computer or in your operating system, that currency has a format, has a setting. So if your setting is in this manner, RS and cents, definitely whatever you type will be changed into that format. I will show you that little later, right? That depends on your computer current setting, currency setting. Suppose if your computer has a different setting, definitely you will not get RS 1,000. You may get only 1,000 dot or something. It depends on the computer setting, which means OS setting, right? Later I will show how to change this into dollar or in any others. Okay, so now keep it. Even those who have computers, you can try and see the change. Unless you made some changes to RS, you cannot get to RS, right? Definitely your currency will be in a comment format like 1,000.00 something, right? But here I made a change. That's why it shows like rupees. Okay, okay. Now I typed the first record. I have added my first record. Yes, let me add another record in the same way, right? So let me type 1,001, right? 1,001. If and press the tab key. and then type another person like Kumar, right, like P or something initial, and type the age, then type the fee. If it is 500, see, I typed only 500. Soon after you type the 500, press the tab key, because you are trying to go to the next record. To go to the next record, tab key must be pressed. So when you press tab key, that data will be in the new format. Look at that, RS 500. Here also it works according to the current setting of the computer, right? Sorry, I typed 1001 twice. I can make another change, 1003 or something. Suppose if you set admission number as primary key, you cannot type the data again and again. You cannot type the same data again. But not, it allowed me to enter 1001 twice because admission number wasn't set as primary key. That's the reason why I typed twice, right? Okay, let me type another record, 1005. Okay, so let me type Meena or something, Meena. And her age is something like, let me type 18 or something, and right, currency. Okay, so one by one you can enter the data. If you have 35 students in your class, type 35 records. After typing the record, even anytime, right, anytime you can switch to design view, because see, sometimes you may feel that a field name is incorrect. You have to correct that. So here you cannot correct the field name. Go to the design view. See, keep an eye on the view button, right? This is very useful. So click on the view and then click on design view. See, when I click design view, it automatically turns to design view. Now you can make changes. Even you can add another field. That is possible, right? You can set another field. Okay, let me add another field like date of birth or something, DOB. This is another field. I am modifying my existing table. At the time when the table was designed, I forget that, right? I forget DOB. Now only I realize that DOB is there. So type the DOB. So for data type, see, there is an option called date or time. Date or time. Select that. Okay, now go back to the datasheet view again. So click the view, datasheet view. It asks to save again. We have already saved. So just click the yes button. No need to give the name again because name is already given. Just click. Now date of birth is there. So, okay, let me type the date of birth there first and we can see the change. So, okay, look here. The first person database is something like this, 14. Listen to me, 14. He was born on 14 January 1990, right? 14 January 1990. So, I type 14. Listen to me carefully. Leave a space. I don't type a dot or slash or something. Leave a space. And since he was born on January, I put 01 or something, right? Again, leave a space and 1990. Okay, right. Now press the tab key. Tab key. Have you noticed that? Now that date which I entered is changed. It's changed into a different pattern. I typed like 14/01/1990, but now it shows like 1/14/1990. So what does it mean? Even for date also, there is a format available in your computer. Even in Access, we can change the format. So now, even though I type 14/1/1990, it shows like 1 because according to the current setting, your date comes second, month comes first. In Access format, in the present setting of Access, the format is, first of all, it's month, second date, and then year. But you know, our usual format is something different, right? We type the date, then month, then year. Yes, we can change this format into a traditional or familiar format. That is possible. But now I don't want because this is the first one, so I keep it. And have you noticed the slashes? Slash is also in the format. You don't need to type that. So it makes your work easy. You can type the things fastly. Don't be confused with the format, right? Format can be changed. Even after typing the things, you can change the format, right? So here, even for fees and date of birth, there are different formats in the present computer, but we can change according to our wish. Okay, right. So now today we created a small table with 4 fields and we worked in 2 different views. Remember the views? First of all, to create a table, you have to go to the design view of a table. So designing a table is nothing. It's creating your fields along with the data type. So once fields and data types are set, you have to switch to another view called datasheet view because that is the view to enter the data. In design view, you cannot type the data. So you have to switch to datasheet view for typing the data. One by one, you have to add the record. But we can do many things there. We can set the primary keys, foreign keys. We can even give the relationships, and that we can change the format as we discussed now, changing the format of the currency, changing the format of the date. So we can do plenty of things, right? So it's enough for today. If you have the facility to use access in your home, better use it. Again, I tell you, these are not important for exams, right? No questions asked, but it is better to know some application softwares because working with MS Word, working with Excel, maybe PowerPoint is easy, but this database software is something different than the others because sometimes people feel that it is little difficult to handle. So understand the things. If you have the opportunity, you can practice them, right? So with this, we can conclude and meet in the next lesson, right? Okay, thank you.